I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Terence Crawford. I mean, skill-wise, I give him, I think he's a better fighter than Canelo.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
Terence Crawford just went off on Canelo Alvarez live on air. Making it clear why he believes he's the better fighter, Crawford stated that while Canelo might have the size and power advantage, he himself has the edge in speed reach, and most importantly, skill. He confidently said that the opponents Canelo has beaten in the past weren't as strong or as skillful as him. Though he meant no disrespect to them, Crawford also addressed the doubts people have about him stepping up to fight Canelo, saying, "That's exactly what fuels his determination," he acknowledged. Canelo as a great fighter, but emphasized that pure boxing skills set him apart with his precise technique and ability to adapt. Crawford believes he can outbox Canelo in the ring whether the fight happens or not. Crawford is making sure everyone knows he's ready for the challenge. If you likes this video, please subscribe, punch Vista, and click the bell icon for more latest and interesting videos.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out, from Kirkland to Amir Khan to just...
Don't
obviously,
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not Kovalev.
Kovalev was older. He does.
Billy Joe.
Does. Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot of power, but all those guys that you name is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to none of those fighters. The skill level is not there.
So how do you see a fight with Canelo going?
Tough fight. Canelo is a great fighter. Like, I always had respect for Canelo, but I just believe in my skills. The fact that people doubt me, it just fueled me even more. Try to get the fight even more. And I'm watching them, I'm like, man, I can beat this dude. I've been fighting people bigger than me all my life, and I always came out on top. You gonna get hit. It's a fight. He gonna get hit too. It'll be good.
Jeff Mayweather shared his thoughts on an upcoming showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, emphasizing the contrast in their styles and what it would take for Crawford to win. According to Mayweather skill-wise, Crawford has the edge, but Canelo is a dominant force in his weight class that makes the challenge much greater for Crawford, who would have to fight a near-perfect fight to secure a victory. One key point Mayweather highlighted is that both fighters are aging, and at this stage in their careers, it's uncertain when either might begin to decline while both remain among the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. The question of who is closer to their prime could play a major role in the outcome. A slight drop in sharpness from either fighter could be the deciding factor in a highly competitive bout.
Terence Crawford. I mean, skill-wise, I give him, I think he's a better fighter than Canelo, but Canelo is also a great fighter but he owns that weight class that he's in. So I would just say that I think that Crawford has to fight almost a perfect fight to win, and take advantage of Canelo's mistakes.
Mayweather sees a path to victory for Crawford primarily through his superior skill set and ability to capitalize on Canelo's mistake. However, he also acknowledges that it could be a razor-close fight where Crawford might win by decision or just as easily lose by a close margin. The challenge of moving up multiple weight classes for Crawford is significant, but if he can maintain his speed and precision while handling Canelo's power, he has a real shot at victory. Ultimately, the fight would come down to execution. Canelo's experience at higher weight classes gives him a physical advantage, but Crawford's boxing IQ and adaptability could help him overcome that. If the fight happens, it would be a fascinating clash of skill versus size, with Crawford needing to outbox and outthink Canelo over 12 rounds to emerge victorious.
Both guys are aging, and you never know. You never know when they're going to show their age. So it could be either one of them that does that. But I mean, I just lean toward Crawford because I just dude has so many skills. And I mean, I just see that him possibly winning the fight by decision, but could also lose a close decision.
Atlas laid out a fascinating perspective on the upcoming Crawford versus Canelo fight, emphasizing the historical element of boxing, where smaller, more skilled fighters have sometimes outmaneuvered bigger, stronger opponents. He acknowledged that many were starting to buy into the idea that Terence Crawford could be that rare small guy who beats a great big guy, just like in the old days when catchweights were more common. Atlas questioned whether people were looking at Canelo's size the wrong way instead of seeing it as an insurmountable disadvantage for Crawford. He suggested that maybe the key to victory lies in Crawford's intelligence, slickness, and speed. Could he be too quick, too smart, and too skilled to allow Canelo to impose his size and power? Force.
We believe we had the Crawford. It looked like we had the Crawford. We were talking about that. Can a really great small guy beat a really good big guy? You know, we were getting into that mind frame again. Some people were saying, "Oh, Canelo's too big, forget it." But we were getting into the right mind frame, the right with this great, sweet science, with this sport that goes back longer than any other sport in the world, where catchweights used to be in the 20s to 30. Little guys beat big guys, and it wasn't that unusual. So we were starting to get into that frame of thinking. Okay, can this great guy Crawford, can he, instead of looking at it as a disadvantage that Canelo is so big.
The analogy he used was powerful. Boxing shouldn't just be like bullfighting, where the matador inevitably slaughters the bull. Sometimes the bull has a chance to outmaneuver them. Matador. Even if it's rare, that's what made the idea of this fight intriguing. People were starting to believe it was possible. However, Atlas hinted at his frustration with the sport, suggesting that just when boxing builds excitement, something always seems to derail it. He didn't specify exactly what, but his words reflected the sport's history of missed opportunities and politics getting in the way of great matchups.
That maybe he'd be too smart, too slick, too quick, you know what I mean? Too special in those areas, not to allow Canelo to use his size and his counterpunching and everything else. And that's what the sweet science is about. You know, it's not supposed to be just about, letting a bull run out into the bull ring and then wait until the matador puts a spear in. It's supposed to be about the bull actually having a chance to outslick the matador, which don't happen too often. So now we were starting to get into interesting grounds. Okay, people were buying into it. Yeah, okay.
Conor Benn's take on Crawford versus Canelo highlights the razor-thin margins in this upcoming fight. Benn believes Terence Crawford has the ability to dominate anyone between 154 and 160 pounds because of his elite skill set, adaptability, and ring IQ. However, when it comes to Canelo, the equation changes. Unlike other opponents, Canelo is not just powerful, he is highly skilled, experienced, and battle-tested against some of the best fighters in the world. Benn is essentially saying that while Crawford's skill gives him an advantage against most fighters in that weight range, Canelo is a different kind of challenge. Canelo has proven he can handle slick technical boxers and also possesses the power to change a fight with a single punch. Crawford, on the other hand, is not just a power puncher, he is a master technician who wins fights through intelligence, precision, and strategy. This makes the matchup so intriguing. It's not just about size or power, but about who can better implement their game plan.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
But not 68.
Nah, Benavidez is...
Canelo. Yeah.
Canelo, I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, when he's fought Burlanga, then fought Ryder, Munguia. It's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Joe Rogan praised Saudi Arabia's impact on boxing. emphasizing how Turki Al-Sheikh has played a key role in bringing elite fighters together for matchups that fans have long wanted to see. He acknowledged that Saudi Arabia has elevated the sport by making the biggest fights happen regardless of traditional obstacles like promotional disputes or network conflicts. Rogan also expressed his belief that Terence Crawford has what it takes to defeat Canelo Alvarez, dismissing concerns about weight classes. In his view, Crawford's skill level is so high that it can overcome any physical disadvantages. Rogan sees boxing as more than just a battle of size and power. It's about technique, precision, and strategy. He believes Crawford possesses those qualities at an elite level, making him capable of handling a bigger opponent like Canelo. Crawford has consistently demonstrated his ability to adjust to any style, outthink his opponents, and execute flawless game plans in the ring. While Canelo is a proven champion with experience against top fighters, Rogan sees Crawford's technical superiority as the key factor in his eyes. The weight difference doesn't matter as much as the skill gap making Crawford.
When you look at the elite of the elite boxers, to a man, to every one of them, they're disciplined and they stay focused. I'm so excited to see this fight with Canelo Alvarez because I think the Saudi Arabians have so much money. They're throwing so much money at boxing, and the guy who's the head of boxing over there wants to make that fight happen. I think Terence Crawford, forget about the 3 weight classes. I think he could beat Canelo.
I think he can.
A real threat in this matchup, Hearn discussed the complexities behind making the Canelo versus Crawford fight. Highlighting scheduling as a key issue, he explained that while an agreement was in place for the fight, it wasn't finalized for. May and Canelo wanted to fight on his usual Cinco de Mayo weekend with the limited options available. Canelo's focus shifted to becoming undisputed. Hearn acknowledged that a Crawford fight would be even more significant if Canelo enters as an undisputed champion at 168. He emphasized how historic it would be for Crawford to challenge for a third undisputed title, solidifying his legacy in boxing.
One of the issues around the whole situation was they'd agreed the Crawford fight, but they hadn't agreed a May fight, and Canelo wanted to fight in May. And there aren't really a lot of options, but by beating Skull, you can become undisputed. And I feel like the fight with Crawford as an undisputed fight is pretty cool because Crawford's undisputed at 47 and 40, and he could become a 3-division undisputed champion.
Edgar Burlanga shared his thoughts on this upcoming fight, emphasizing that in boxing, anything can happen. He acknowledged that Crawford is already a legend in the sport, known for his exceptional skill, intelligence, and ability to adapt in the ring. Burlanga made it clear that the only real advantage Canelo has in this fight is his size. He's naturally the bigger fighter, which could play a role in the matchup. However, when it comes to boxing fundamentals, Burlanga believes Crawford has the edge he praised. Crawford's technical ability, sharp ring IQ, and overall skill set, suggesting that Canelo doesn't have a clear advantage in those areas. While Canelo is an elite fighter with tremendous experience, Burlanga sees Crawford as more complete in terms of movement, precision, and fight strategy. Burlanga's perspective highlights the idea that size alone doesn't determine the outcome of a fight. He recognizes that Crawford's skill level could allow him to overcome the weight difference, making the fight highly competitive. Ultimately, Burlanga respects both fighters, but sees Crawford as having the superior technical ability, making this a far more even fight than some might assume.
My good friend, my brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him out, you know what I'm saying?
Stephen A. Smith commented on the prospect of a fighter moving up 3 weight classes and gaining 21 lbs to face Canelo Alvarez, stating that such a move is entirely too small. He drew a striking comparison to the movie Rocky IV, where Apollo Creed faces off against Ivan Drago, a fighter who is physically superior in every way. This analogy emphasizes the drastic challenge and potential mismatch. When a fighter attempts such a significant jump in weight classes, just as Apollo's fight with Drago seems doomed from the start, Smith's remarks reflect a sense of skepticism about the practicality and fairness of such a matchup, suggesting that it may be more about spectacle than competitive balance in the same breath. Smith also addressed Terence "Bud" Crawford, advising him to let it go. He referred to Crawford's ongoing pursuit of the Canelo fight as unrealistic, possibly holding on to an unattainable dream. The underlying message is that Crawford, while an exceptional talent, might be better off focusing on other achievable challenges, rather than chasing a fight with someone who is not only a weight class above, but also a much larger physical force. Smith's words highlight the importance of understanding one's limits in the pursuit of greatness.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence "Bud" Crawford should move up 3 weight classes and 21 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jermell Charlo already proved that. Y'all remember that scene from Rocky? Remember that scene from Rocky 2? When Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed and his trainer was like, "Can I be honest? I saw you beat this man within an inch of his life." And he kept coming. He wouldn't go away. He's wrong for us, baby. He's wrong. Let it go. Apollo couldn't do it and lost fight number 2. Trained him for fight Rocky 3 and then got killed in Rocky 4 by Drago because he couldn't let it go. Bud Crawford needs to let it go. Too small.
Carl Froch recently weighed in on the upcoming matchup between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, and he has some strong opinions about it. Froch points out that Crawford, who has been known for fighting at lightweight, would face a significant challenge moving up 3-8 divisions. He believes it's a big issue for Crawford, noting that the jump from lightweight to super middleweight isn't just about fighting a bigger opponent, but dealing with the considerable size difference. Froch explains that while Crawford is 37 years old and Canelo is 35, both fighters are nearing the end of their careers, which could influence their ability to adjust to the weight change. As fighters get older, it becomes harder to shed weight and compete at a higher weight class. However, Froch adds that this isn't the main issue. Crawford isn't struggling to cut weight for this fight. Instead, the real problem lies in the lack of a rehydration clause. Without this clause, Canelo, who will weigh in at 168 low B, will likely rehydrate overnight, potentially entering the ring weighing over 175 lb, or roughly 14 stone in British terms. Froch emphasizes that Crawford won't have the same physical advantage, as he would be facing an opponent who is not only heavier, but also likely more powerful due to the weight gain. This size discrepancy, Froch believes, could be a major issue for Crawford, and makes the fight seem extremely lopsided in Froch's view. This fight is more about Canelo's massive physical advantage than Crawford's skill, and it's difficult to see how Crawford could overcome such a significant disadvantage in the ring.
3 weight divisions, 2 or 3 weight divisions, for me, it's a big issue. He's not a bigger man. I mean, he's 37 years old, Canelo's 35. They're both sort of at the end of their careers. Crawford, I'm not going to say he's old, so that's going to be a major problem, because as you're older, you do want to step up the weight divisions because it's harder to take weight off. Neither of these guys are taking weight off, so that's not an issue, but there's no rehydration clause. And the issue with that is, for me, is the fact that Canelo can weigh whatever he wants the next day. So he's going to get down to 168 pounds super middle, and he's probably going to be getting in the ring way over 175 pounds, the light heavyweight limit. He'll be up at, like, in English money, it's going to be up at like 14, maybe towards 14 stone. And there's no way that Terence Crawford's going to be that heavy. He's going to be coming up to 168, and he'll only be a few pounds over.
Froch continues his analysis of the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Acknowledging Crawford's incredible achievements in the sport, he praises Crawford for being unbeaten and for holding titles in multiple divisions. At least 2 and possibly 3, Crawford's legacy as a 2-time undisputed champion and his dominance at various levels of competition make him a remarkable fighter. According to Froch, however, Froch also highlights that Crawford is at the tail end of his career and he's daring to challenge himself by taking on someone like Canelo Alvarez. Froch acknowledges the significance of this fight for Crawford's legacy, emphasizing that this is a chance for Crawford to further cement his place in boxing history, but the challenge is immense. Canelo is not only younger, but also far bigger than Crawford, with much more experience in throwing, which makes the situation even more daunting. The point that Froch points out is that there's no rehydration clause in place, meaning Canelo could potentially come into the fight significantly heavier and stronger than Crawford. While Froch respects Crawford for taking on this challenge, he questions whether it's a step too far. This is a fight between two elite athletes, both of whom have defeated almost everyone in their path. But Froch also reminds viewers that Canelo has lost before, which shows that even the best can be beaten.
Unbeaten. He's a former two-weight undisputed. I think he's two-weight undisputed. Let me know in the comments. You always correct me if I get it wrong. But he's unified the divisions. At least two, even three divisions. He's been a world champion. So this is a guy that's unbeaten and dominated at virtually every level. But he's now at the end of his career and he's daring to be great. This is a fight that will really secure and seal his legacy. But he's taken on Canelo Alvarez, 2 years younger, bags of experience, and a lot bigger, with no rehydration clause. This is a mountain to climb for Terence Crawford. So fair play to him for taking this fight on. But is it a step too far? I don't even know if it is a step too far. I mean, it's a fight between two top world level elite athlete boxers.
This fight, though monumental, is certainly a tough mountain for Crawford to climb. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned.